All right, let's go ahead and begin. Everyone who has just joined, again, this is about how admins are helping their agents be successful with ActivePipe. So if you are an agent, feel free to hop off. This is really going to be admin specific today. You're more than welcome to stay around. But again, this is going to be for admins of ActivePipe today. And with that said, we have some special guests here today. Kat and Puya, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're excited to share what you guys are doing in ActivePipe so that it hopefully inspires some other customers. So with that, Kat, I think we're going to begin. I have a couple of questions if you don't mind kind of
Yeah,
answering them.
absolutely. Go for it.
Cool. So the first thing I would love is if you could just maybe talk a little bit about what you guys specifically at Madison are doing for your agents in ActivePipe right now.
Yeah, so what we are doing, we have about 170 agents at Madison and 7 offices. So we in a marketing team of about 3 of us. So what we currently do is we, as of this month, have just started doing an auto send for our agents. So we send out 2 marketing pieces every month on behalf of the agents to their sphere. And so the first piece is the monthly newsletter, and the second piece is kind of a fluff piece. And then in addition to that, we also do a lot of customization for our agents. We kind of really encourage that entrepreneur mindset. So, if someone needs to put together a garage sale for their neighborhood and kind of have it branded to them and, pushed out through ActivePipe to their neighbors and get, signups, that's also something we can help the agents with. And so those types of marketing pieces, we are able to curate and really put together some really mindful pieces for our agents. And then they're able to send, those type of either custom pieces themselves, or if they're on, that company send, we just send 2 pieces on their behalf each month.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's really cool. I'm glad you guys are doing that. The other thing I wanted to dig into is kind of everything that led up to like that decision. If you want to walk through some of the steps that you guys took as a marketing team to roll this out to your agents and, everything that went along with that. I know you shared a really cool document, so I'm going to pull that up if you want to kind of talk through it a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So our whole philosophy with ActivePipe is kind of adopted from, there's a gentleman named Larry Kendall here that does this training for real estate agents called Ninja Installation. And his philosophy is about staying in flow. And so that was kind of something that we adopted with ActivePipe. Was the point of us to have this great platform is to stay in flow. And that's on the agent side. So the best thing is, but agents just are so busy all the time and just, I think sometimes get kind of stuck on what they're actually going to push out through
Definitely.
ActivePipe, right? So it's kind of one of those things where we're like, okay, so how do we keep them in flow with their clients? Because it not only benefits them, it's also a very, great for the company side, because the more deals they do, the more money we make as well. So the thought process is, okay, so what can we create and how many times can we send out, per month without being too spammy? And also get that agent adoption. I think agent adoption is always the key, pillar in kind of getting agents to, just really stay in flow with their contacts and, kind of stay top of mind. So what we did is when we first announced that we have this new platform called ActivePipe, we really let the agents dive deeper into what ActivePipe looks like, because it's not just email, automation and marketing. There's analytics, which I'm geek out on quite a bit. And I think it's really valuable for agents to see that as well. So what we did is we decided that let's do a bunch of trainings for a couple months. Let's get people adopted into this platform, see how, beautiful the pieces are we're creating, how thoughtful and mindful they are. Because that's the other thing, is like, what is the marketing team going to be pushing out to my clients? I don't want it to be junk. So that was all part of it. So what we did is we kind of let them have a period of nurture. So we then after a couple months, we basically created this memo that Devin is showing right now. And it kind of went through, we try to be as clear as possible with our agents of what it is that they're getting, and what's being pushed out and when and all these sort of things. So the first part was explaining which kind of account you're going to get. So the company send account was for the agents that really, they don't want to dive deeper. They don't want to send out the garage, sale announcements or, monthly sales or something like that. They just want to set it and forget it. So, we go through and have that company send, agent send, obviously just having the ability to kind of do whatever you want within the platform. If they're a little bit more tech savvy, we see, those type of agents on that type of account. And each of those accounts can have this ability to be on what we call the auto send within Madison. So it doesn't matter if you're company send or agent, they both can sign up for that. And then how it works, basically, again, we just kind of said, 2 professionally curated design emails per month. Obviously, we all know it's branded to the agents. A huge part of having this platform is that all of their links are clickable, their photo. Again, going back to Larry Kendall's mindset, staying in flow and top of mind, the more they see their photo and the great content that's being pushed, the more likely they'll think of the agents for real estate needs. Obviously, we do notify the agents, just letting them know, hey, this is going to go out, be prepared. You may be getting an email with some of those analytics after the email is sent. Really take a peek at those because, if Joe Schmo keeps clicking on your monthly stats, you might want to pick up the phone and just give him a little shout out and just see if he's starting that thought process of buying or selling. And then we made it very clear of when we're actually going to be sending it out. So we do the 7th of every month, which is our newsletter. We get stats usually by the 4th and 3rd, which we do include in there. So the 7th was kind of a good little time frame for us. And then the 27th is a kind of fluff piece. So a fluff piece doesn't necessarily mean like Happy Father's Day or like, here's how to pot some plants. It does have some of that in there, but it also is, we curate content like what renovations in your home will create the biggest ROI.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff that is really relevant of what people are thinking. And so that's kind of what those fluff pieces may entail.
That's
And then,
awesome.
yeah, the biggest thing is, just making sure that people know we don't use these contacts. They have a, CRM that their contacts are loaded into. And yeah, and then we also, at the end here, we do have some requirements in order for agents to have an ActivePipe account. So we have a mentee mentor program. Mentees must graduate from that program in order to have an ActivePipe account.
That's really cool.
Yeah, the agents must have at least 50 contacts in the CRM to
That's a
participate.
really smart way to do it, since we all know that's one of the biggest hurdles to getting
Yeah.
emails sent is contacts in. So that's a really great idea. I love that.
Yeah, and I think just kind of a side note on that is one thing we adopted on our onboarding process with new agents. We have a huge tech stack at Madison, and they do an onboarding with tech stack. And one thing is, before we schedule that meeting with anyone who maybe not is a mentee who will get an ActivePipe account and has over 50 contacts, is we try to really push them to get their CSV file to at least created. Not, they don't have to send it to us, but created before we do our tech meeting. That really ensures that their contacts are uploaded. We can show them at the tech meeting how to upload their contacts. Then that way we know, okay, next month or in a couple weeks, their contacts are loaded and they are going to be on that auto send.
Yeah, that's
The,
genius.
yeah, and the other part of this was, after this was sent, there was a link at the bottom that said, fill out this form to figure out which account you want and if you want to adopt this auto send. So not everyone at Madison is on the auto send, but a
Yeah.
majority of them are. And so this just helped us as a marketing team really kind of understand who wanted to be on the auto send. Obviously, when we go and send it, we have to look through those spreadsheets, and
Right.
then we're able to send it out on their behalf.
Yeah, that's something really important for us to highlight to everyone else listening, is that, this isn't generally an opt-in program. So we, most admins are asking their agents if they want this, these kind of emails to go out on their behalf. And like Kat said, they use a form, and we actually have a very, very general form at ActivePipe that we're happy to provide. I have it pulled up here. So if any of you guys are interested, go ahead and message support or your CSM. We would be happy to share this with you. It just makes the process of getting your agents, opting into these emails going out easier. The key thing is that it's, asking what type of emails they want to go out. And then this part right here, as you know, Kat, is really important, is finding out who they actually want those emails to go to, what tags and everything.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, I just wanted to highlight this for everyone. We do have it. I think it can be very helpful for pulling off a concierge program like Madison is doing right now.
And we also don't give them an option on either or on those two pieces that are sent out, just because for ease of use on the back end, we just say you get two or you get none.
Yeah, I think
I don't
that's
know if
smart
that's
for
great or
your
not.
sake. No,
Yeah,
I think
but
that's very smart.
yeah. So, and like I said in the beginning, everything is really, really mindfully curated. So it's not super spammy. We take into, those type of good practices on all of our emails.
Of course you do. You guys are the best. Um, so awesome. Did you have anything else to go over on this sheet? It was really awesome to share with everyone.
Yeah, no, I think it's just the best thing to just have something in writing too that just provides clarity.
Yeah, well, and it
Exactly.
provides sanity for you all, so you're not getting bombarded with questions. You have a nice FAQ to send agents to. So
Yep, exactly. 100%.
awesome. Well, another question I had was just about kind of like the before and after. I know this is kind of a new program for you all, but before you guys started rolling out this program, I know that not a lot of your agents were really using ActivePipe on their own. So I'm curious if you think that your agents are generally a bit more happier to just have this kind of task of nurturing contacts taken off their plate.
Yeah, I think it goes back to that whole philosophy I was saying in the beginning is, they're so busy and they're real estate agents for a reason. Like they're really good at face-to-face communication. They're really good at selling and being out in the field and prepping listings and things like that. That's why you have a marketing team and why you have platforms like ActivePipe is because these things are working on their behalf without them having to lift a finger. I mean, the initial upload of those contacts, like you said, is kind of a pain in the bum, but that's really the only pain point that we have with getting agents on there, on the auto send portion. But like I said, it gives them more autonomy to just be out in the field and not have to worry about this because it is important to, like I said, stay in flow with your contact with their contacts and their clients.
Yeah, exactly. And that means a lot coming from someone who's both an amazing marketing rock star, but also an agent yourself. So, um,
Yeah. Well, I don't know about Rockstar, but it is funny because being in marketing and a real estate agent, it's I really appreciate my own efforts because I just let it go. We create it and I know that my clients are getting really good stuff and we get comments. I mean, it's great because they can just reply to the email and be like, "Oh, this
right.
one's good," or "Great stats," or all of this stuff. So I think it's really helpful to kind of do, understand the real estate side of maybe the real estate brain, if you will,
Hmm.
and the marketing brain. I think that's one thing that really sets some of our pieces apart is that we can kind of tap into both of those brains, left side, right side, and have those e-blasts that are just really, really, have really good click rates and things like that. Because ultimately, that's the goal.
Yeah, love that. Well said.
Yeah.
Well, one last question for you, if you don't mind. We got to hear about how your agents are definitely happier, with you guys taking ownership of this. I'd love to hear about how your team is feeling taking this on, and everything going forward.
Yeah, what it does for our team is it just provides some more structure of what to expect in the next month.
Hmm.
We know exactly on the 7th that the newsletter has to go out. So what that means is we're prepped when those stats come out. That's really the last thing that's populated into our newsletters. And then we're ready to have that, scheduled to be sent. So it just creates a lot more structure within our day-to-day or monthly kind of tasks. And just again, being able to just have everything set up so we don't have to, run around and do certain newsletters for certain agents. I mean, for three of us, we're, and this week and last week we're down to two. It's a lot of work. And so if we
Yeah.
can just provide a mass email that's, really kind of targets everybody, then, that makes our lives way easier and,
I know it's
have more
been,
sanity.
yeah, exactly. Back to the sanity. I know it's been kind of time consuming getting this up and running, but going forward, do you guys feel like it's going to be a big time saver for you all?
Absolutely. I think at the beginning, it's just getting that memory muscle of how things work. I think that it also applies to some of the
Right.
agents, what the emails. And I think having that now and just a really deeper understanding of how the platform works and all of those things, it's so much easier, right? Because you're kind of learning how to build templates at the beginning.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, can this button go here? Can it do this? And we maybe have been such a pain in the butt for Devin because we're always like,
No.
like there's this great, could we do this or this? And so I think for us now that we have such a good hold on the actual platform of ActivePipe, it's so much easier. We're really efficient with how we're creating our newsletters and blasts and listing stuff for all our agents. So
Yeah. And well, the great thing is that you're really only building like two emails, rather than one for each one of your agents and able to send it all out at once. Right. So,
yep, exactly.
yeah.
And that's again, like for our fluff pieces, like since we do have offices all around, like for instance, there was one piece we did, farmers markets are huge here in Colorado. And
Love
so, we have some really great farmers markets by our Evergreen office or up in Brighton. So, those are all included in our, in those fluff pieces so that it does really kind of, you know, take into account all of the contacts that maybe people have demographically.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much, Kat. I really appreciate your time. It looks like actually we have one question from the audience, if you
Oh,
don't mind.
sure.
They just wanted a little bit more understanding on your mentor-mentee program. So the question is, how does the mentor-mentee program work? Is this a training program? And how deep do you go with the ActivePipe platform?
Great question. So, and I'll try to give not the long winded because I could probably spend an hour on our mentor mentee program.
Yeah,
But
Cliff Notes is fine.
yeah, so basically, we have a pamphlet, a handbook. So we haven't really hired a lot of new agents, but when we do, the most important thing at Madison is to make sure that they are kind of upheld with our standards, right? So that they're really knowledgeable on contracts, on processes, even that includes Madison processes. So we created a group of mentors within Madison. I think we have about 15, and it doesn't mean that every one of them is always a mentor at that time. Um, but so we have a group of mentors that when we get a new agent, meaning they've been licensed less than 6 months, then we set them up with a mentor, and they have to be with that mentor. There's some criteria, right? Like I think they have to sell at least 2 deals with the mentor, having them there to assist with it. And then, or it's kind of time period, right? So, and then from there, they just kind of graduate, and there's discussions with the CEO and the mentee and mentor about when they're ready to just kind of be on their own and when they feel comfortable. But usually it's based off of
Really
how
cool.
many deals that they do. Yeah. And then, how deep do we get with the ActivePipe platform? I'm not quite sure what that
I think it was
means.
related to the mentor program. So I think basically it sounds like from what I'm understanding is the mentor mentee program is very different, but after they become a mentor or I guess gravitate from being a mentee, they get an active pipe account.
Yep, that's correct. Yep. And there are certain instances, right? So there's certain times when we have an agent who maybe came from like a mortgage world or something like that, where they are maybe more invested in real estate or, have more knowledge of the real estate world. There is times when we'll be like, okay, you have 200 contacts, you can have an active pipe agent send account or something like that. So,
Got it.
um, yep.
Cool. And then last thing, totally up to you if you're not comfortable. Would you be okay if we like kind of made a copy of your document, I guess, or like made it
Yeah, the
shared? But
memo.
yeah, the memo.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yep, feel free.
Wow. Okay. Everybody on this call just got a lot of work saved for them, it sounds like. So thanks, Kat.
Yeah, you bet. Anytime.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Kat. I really appreciate your time. And good luck with everything.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, everyone. Good luck.
Bye, Kat.
See ya.
All right, I'm going to pass it over to you, Taylor. Excited to hear what Puya is doing with his team.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Puya. Well, thank you for taking the time to join today. For everyone on the call, Puya is Atlantic Sotheby's. I'm just going to go through kind of a series of questioning like Devin did, just to get out in the open what you're doing for your agents, and how ActivePipe has alleviated a lot of those pain points that you had previously seen. So Puya, do you mind telling me, what have you done in the past for your agents within ActivePipe?
So we are actually listening to Kat. We are very similar in structure. We're about a 3-person marketing department ourselves. And I too am an associate broker and marketing director. So I get it. The balance of being able to understand both sides of the business is invaluable, I would say. And that in and of itself has provided us a great level of ability and just understanding what is valuable marketing for a client, what truly matters to a seller and what truly matters to a buyer, and so on and so forth. So with that said, what we currently do, we do quite a bit. We have a bunch of various different departments that we help support. So each month, what one could expect to see from our company as a whole would be 3 newsletters. One would be for the general brand, the Atlantic Sotheby's brand. There's a large team of 30 plus people that we also generate a marketing newsletter for, as well as our property management arm gets its own newsletter.
That's great.
Those are pretty awesome because what I generally am able to do is either update the email and continue the campaign, or I can just duplicate the email and swap out whatever content I want. And with the new way that y'all had set up the categories with the check boxes, it makes it super easy to on the fly just pick the groups that we want to hit on any given mail piece. So
Right.
that for us, that's been a huge thing of being able to see in a visual display all of our different categories or tags, and then being able to hit those targets by just simply checking those boxes or adding in, if I just want to throw my owner into the mix of something, I could just simply type his name and it pulls it up from the system and adds that to it. It's really nice. So those are our newsletters. In addition to that, we do an agent branded version of our newsletter on behalf of our team agents specifically. That will happen every so often. And that one we just send out on their behalf and then notify them that, they're to expect to see a mail piece go out at said date, said time, and basically expect to field those responses. For them and on the team, it's not so much of an elective thing. As part of the team, they're basically required to allow us to send these on their behalf to the set sphere group that they import into the ActivePipe contact section on each respective account.
Right. Yeah, sorry,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead, Puya.
No,
I
go
was just gonna say that's great context. As you can see, everyone, there's a couple of different ways that you can go about sending on behalf. As Puya's doing it, they're just going ahead and sending on behalf. They don't give the agency options, whereas Kat, they have that opt-in option. So these are just a couple of different ways that you can navigate how to send on behalf of your agents.
Absolutely. And we do have a handful of rogue accounts, as I call them, that don't fall under the team, that they kind of have their own workflow. But our general requirement is for them to log in and generate one sort of mail piece at a month in order to like maintain their account and or attend a training. So right now where Kat is, we're working on creating some sort of guidance, some sort of accountability measures to make sure people are more active outside of what we are providing. But we do see that once there is a little bit of training, there is a larger sense of adoption. at least immediately following that training session.
Right.
In addition to what we do for those newsletters, we also send out on behalf of our talent acquisition director for any recruitment emails. We have a reoccurring campaign that we've created for our open houses, which is fantastic. It's probably the first piece I created once I set up ActivePipe, and I turned it on, and it's been on ever since, and I haven't had to touch it once. So that's pretty awesome. And I know if we have open houses within our system, it will generate that email and send it out when we want it to go out early in the morning. Otherwise, it won't send anything out. So I think that's also very cool.
Yeah, that extra automation aspect is really important and something to take note of. Just on top of open houses, this is going to be for just listed or just solds as well. It's not going to send out that automatic email if there is nothing in the parameters that you've set it to for the automation email to go out. So that's a good piece to keep in the back of your mind.
And we do include those smart sections for the homes within our newsletters. So each newsletter will have like a new to market kind of segment in it, with usually we do 1 or 2 hero like kind of featured properties, and then under it we'll do a list of a few others, and then obviously a button that resolves to our full listings. After that, we also like to put a lot of our internal training offerings within ActivePipe and send those out. It's just nice because I get to see which agents are clicking, how many links are they clicking in, are they filling out the forms, are they going to the calendar invites, so on and so forth. That's a nice bit. Extraordinary properties and out of line events, obviously holidays when they come up, we schedule those. It's great. We have a bunch of templates that are ready to go in there that we can kind of modify or just use as is. Extraordinary properties, those are kind of some of our stuff that every so often that we get a very notable piece of land or a notable property that has features that are above and beyond what we typically market. We like to create an independent campaign piece for that and blast it to the entire company, respective to the company that or the side that has listed it. And then on that same token, we also have recently been working with a lot of new construction or new development sites, and we found a lot of value in using ActivePipe to promote those lot release events, model release events, and just promote the new home site in general, especially since as we create those campaigns, we develop our own specific list for that particular avenue, and then we can import that list and just marry it into our ActivePipe system, and then mirror what we're doing on our CRM side as well. I would say in a nutshell, those are what we currently have going. We have a couple ideas for things we want to add, but those are what we have currently going.
And I'm sure Kat probably gave you a couple of other ideas, Booyah.
For sure.
She is just loaded with them. Well, that's great. Yeah, thanks for answering that. Can you tell me what's the biggest challenge that ActivePipe has solved for you as a marketing director?
Well, I think simplicity and workflow. So I don't want to slander, so I won't name any client that I worked with in the past, but some of our previous clients that were providing a similar service, the workflow just wasn't there for expeditious and quality, clean marketing. And specifically speaking, as a Sotheby's affiliate, we hold ourselves to a bit of a higher standard when it comes to design aesthetic. And with some of those older clients, it was very, very difficult for us to achieve that brand look, and to do it in a quick manner that would provide value. At the end of the day, if I'm spending 8 hours to make one mail piece, something is wrong. I think the biggest thing for me is the integration into Dash and just how quickly you can take modules and build a custom presentation, or bust out one of the templates and modify and marry whatever data you want into it. I've found it to be extremely quick in that regard. And then the import of contacts and everything, again, it's very quick and seamless. And with you being able to apply tags up front and things of that nature, it just makes it a very versatile tool without us needing to go into those contact sections and then manually inputting in little data for it to work the way we want it to work.
Great. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's our bread and butter. This is what we're trying to solve for, is just taking, that design aspect off of your hands, giving you more ability to be more creative within the email marketing tool itself. That way you can target those specific areas or specific people when you have that smart feed turned on, like you mentioned.
Absolutely.
Great. My last thought, my last little bit that I just wanted to get out here is just, I'd love to hear your final thoughts on ActivePipe as a SIN on behalf as a whole, and just how it's helped you and your agents.
I think, right away, being able to send out a mail piece that's uniform on behalf of the team by just creating one mail piece and then selecting the users that are going to also send it out and then scheduling it from that and that approach is fantastic. It allows me to send out emails for 30 plus people with one click. So that's a huge time savings. And just kind of going back to the quality of the aesthetic for us, again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it's really important for us to make things that look really good. And we spend a lot of time in our print medium and our property flyers and everything to make them look a certain way. And we've kind of developed a bit of a reputation in the area for having certain types of photography and certain types of formatting when it comes to our graphic design. So to be able to have a tool that can mirror that is huge. It's really huge, especially one that integrates into our parent network. So we have that Dash integration and that blog integration. And I don't know if everybody else has turned it on, but that additional real estate informational feed, I mean, I definitely utilize that quite a bit in our newsletter presentation. So if I'm ever dry on what I can think of just on the fly for content, or I have a slam schedule and I really would like to get some stuff out, but I don't have the time to maybe research out some articles like I normally would. There's a lot of opportunity there to pull some of those articles, modify the title, modify the short description, but then have it resolved to a landing page with your branding and your logo. I think it just kind of fits in the overall presentation, and it's definitely a value add for us if time is money.
Right. And time is money, right?
Absolutely. And one place I see it going for us, and this is something that I'm working with my team to hopefully in the next month or so implement, is when we list for seller clients, when we list a property, we generally send them a nice email that has a copy of their listing agreement, a link to where they're listed online, or the major places that they would be listed online, MLS, snapshot, things of that nature. But it's just a standard email. So my dream has been to create a template that allows agents to attach some of these items on the back end or put the links on certain buttons, so we could have a very beautiful graphically formatted email that could pull the property from our listing clients and populate it. And then you send your client an email that actually has their property, some of their photos. If video and virtual tour are present, those can populate in certain fields. You can throw the link to the Drive file that has their listing agreement in there, and they could click a button to retrieve their listing agreement, which they can use anytime throughout the process to retrieve it once more. And some of those other things, and then maybe some contact buttons for immediate access to their assistant, the agent themselves, or maybe just like a technical support line if they have issues with some visibility or something and they want to reach our technical help. So I think creating that type of seller template will be my next step in creating this really value add piece. And I think that will help further adoption, because it will then force all the listing partners to really want to use that to have the best possible initial intro email to their client once listed.
Right.
I have to say, I seriously love that idea. And when you finally execute it, Booyah, we're going to need to have you come back and talk all about it.
Great. Awesome. Well, those are all the questions that I had for you today, Pooya. Thank you for answering those so fluidly. Super helpful information that we got from today. It looks like we don't have any questions from the chat, but if there are any other questions, please feel free to drop them in now, as we are going to wrap up this meeting and move on.
Yeah. Thank you, Kat and Pooya, so much for your time. Like Taylor said, if there's any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll hang around for a couple more minutes, and then reach out to support if you liked any of the templates that we showed you today. And then last thing, since we have some amazing admins on this call, I wanted to remind you all that we have a contact upload webinar tomorrow, 11 Central Standard Time. It's going to be all about getting agents to export contacts from wherever the heck they are, and then organizing them so we can finally get them into ActivePipe. So if you guys know some agents that don't have contacts in, please, please, please send them to our webinar tomorrow so that we can get them ready to send emails.
Yes. Times 2.
Yeah.
All righty.
Looks like we're
Well,
good to go then.
Yep, looks like we're good to go. Well, thanks, Kat and Puya. Really appreciate it. And I'm sure everyone else on the call did as well.
Anytime. Of course.
Pleasure.
Awesome. All right, everyone have a sparkling Tuesday.
Toodles,
you.
y'all.
Bye.